Sure.
Right, sure.
Okay. Rav will look after
Sure,
her.
will, before she leaves, also offer her his cloak to keep her warm, or at least to have something to sleep on. He doesn't like.
Not the invisibility cloak, right?
No, not that one.
Here, take this.
I did consider it as a joke. And
Damn
I was
it.
like, nah, I probably didn't mean that. That'd been great.
just his other
She will begrudgingly take it.
his other sort of great cloak, because he feels sending like a lady out into the forest, having murdered her family, and
She tried to
her
murder us.
before.
She didn't try to murder Dwohurim. Anyway, she'll accept it.
We murdered a lot of
This.
down on their luck. Just because you murder somebody doesn't mean you're a bad person. And certainly acting like she's a bad person is not going to make her feel good about the future. So
She'll accept it with a curt nod, and she'll begin to move away.
good.
And,
He'll look to the Reverend Girl and give him sort of a sad smile.
Rav will offer a polite nod towards Dwohurim and mouth thank you. He'll give it some time. Enough to feel comfortable as she's walking away.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm glad that at least... Dwohurim is courteous. I mean, there was the one time where we thought, back in the waterfront estate, but in all fairness, you weren't really the instigator, although you did threaten to kill her. Well, these are troubling
I didn't
times.
see another way out of there.
These are troubling times, I understand. Alright.
Water under the bridge.
So then, Thomas, Lord and Authority of this creek campground, what would you like to know?
Everything, really. Start talking. I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay.
What was the plan?
Let's see here. My involvement began 5 years ago. I was quite the rapscallion, and ne'er-do-well. Foghaven. Had an eye on every lady. Decided that I wanted to move up in power a bit. And so I got into the good graces and eventually the bedchamber of one Bree Melkor. You might have wondered at some point who fathered her little child. That was me. No. Now, in my time there, I, being the man who desires such power, decided that I was going to nose around a bit. Particularly at night, where I didn't belong. Went into Melkor the crypt there with all the dead ones, thought that I might get my hands on some prizes that had been buried with all the dead. Thought it'd be a great way to make a few coins. I didn't want to steal anything from the upper levels of the estate that would be missed. No one goes to check on the dead, especially not in those noble tombs. I happened to surprise one Ursilia Melkor performing a ritual down there. I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but I only found out later that was Ursilia. It actually looked to me like an undead creature. I'm not really sure what type, that's not my specialty. But I surprised her. We got into a fight. I did nearly kill her, and I think I would have stood a fair chance if she had been alone. The problem, however, is that she wasn't. Being an entire crypt full of all of her dead family, I would have had a true chance, though, had my head not been dunked in that damn pool. Now, I had heard from you all that you had been there to the crypt, so you had seen the pool before. Yes? Small fountain thing looks like a... Yes. Yes, that. Oh, good morning, by the way, over there. Yes, that pool. It was a strange sensation, a feeling of invigoration, a power which swept over me. Almost as if I felt I could do anything at all that I wanted, which at the time was killing her, getting as far away from Foghaven as I possibly could, and living the rest of my life in solitude, because I wanted no part, none, of what was in that crypt. But along with that came obligation, and as soon as I had sputtered my fill of the liquid, almost drowning within it, as a ghoulish fiend held my head down, I was pulled up, given my blades, and she dared me to stab her. I couldn't. Not for lack of trying, I assure you. I have had no compunctions at all with defending myself in all of my years. I couldn't hurt her. Could not scratch her at all. Couldn't lift my blade. It was at that moment that she laughed, said that I was no longer a threat to her, and that, that I would no longer be needed in Foghaven. So, I left, and took to this life of banditry, as it were. I haven't been back to Foghaven since. There have been times when I've really wanted to go. The biggest problem, however, is that after, and this had to be explained to me a bit by Bree later, in my meetings with her, the liquid creates a dependency, like a drug, as it changes your body. As such, I could feel myself in failing health. And were it not for Bree giving effectively doses of it to me on a regular basis, my body would waste away. I would become slower, duller, and weaker. As such, the primary reason why I've stayed here around Foghaven and followed Bree's commands to the best of my ability has been out of survival. Now, I did have someone looking into it for me, doing the best he could to research the situation and tell me as much about it as he could. The problem is that you killed him. Barrick, Whitmore, Ice Wizard. Unless you have him hiding in one of these tents somewhere, I think he's gone. And he was going to be your best source of information on that, other than one of the Melkors. One of the ones in Foghaven. I don't think... Well, there's no telling what's with noble family trees. I'll take that water now, if you don't mind.
Alright, Fargus will sort of shuffle over and give him some water.
Rav will, take a drink. And say, well, that takes care of that introductory situation. Now, I presume that none of you drank that liquid, of course. Otherwise, you would have understood the feeling I described all too well. And, indeed, it might be already too late for you, as you would be very much in the throes of, well, whatever she desired, I imagine, Acilia. Rav will, look to all of you.
It's never a good idea to drink strange liquid found in crypts.
Now, there's of course the matter with the Druids.
Yes, that. Bree's plan, and to her credit, she's rather ambitious, just like the head of the Melkor family. Her plan was to create as much chaos as possible, to attract as much hell as possible, with the intent of killing Ursilia Melkor. Bree is smart enough to realize that she can't do it on her own, and with my compulsion in effect, I could not even try to assist. The bandits were raised strictly by Bree. Funding was acquired by raiding so many caravans, and that money kicked towards Bree so that she could engage in whatever she needed, whether it was by hiring mercenaries, whether it was by acquiring friends, all that would be necessary in order to kill Ursilia, so that Bree could rise to the head of the Melkor estate, with all of the other family members of Melkor spread elsewhere in the world. Bree has been the only one who's been concentrated in there long enough to effectively inherit the entire estate. The guards already know her, the people of Foghaven are already familiar with her, they've seen her already in positions of power. That would be the best situation for her. The problem is that, how the hell do you kill Ursilia Melkor? I certainly had a true chance at it, had I not been alone and had she been alone. Unfortunately, it was not to be. But I do not think she is as powerful as people say she is. I believe that she has been trading on the reputation that has been built over 2 centuries of life and unlife.
So is there a way to exposing her true nature, so to speak?
You tell me. You're the ones who've shown up to the scene recently.
Does Fargus know a way to do that?
Why yes, a sprinkling of fairy dust.
You can make an intelligence-based skill check using your undead hunter background.
Sure. Let's see. Plus...
if she is undead, then she, well, I mean, she could be a vampire, she could be a lich. If she's disguised by magic, then you could attempt to dispel that magic, with the caveat being that you would have to be close enough to her, and she would notice you attempting to dispel it. There's no conveniently secluded, long-range, you-can't-see-me option. Lich and vampire would be the 2 best guesses. Vampires, they do have some possible weaknesses, but the problem with her being a vampire is that Ursilia's been in the sun a whole lot. And so that's clearly not a problem for her. And
Fargus sort of asked him to describe in more detail what he actually saw in the crypt.
Not much. It was mostly dark in there. I was relying more on my experience, and as I've said, I'm no undead expert, and like the descriptions that he will provide for you match with the fact that what he saw was undead, but he couldn't tell you the undead physiology to give you specifics on which creature it was.
I see.
Dark, you could certainly try, yes. That would be the same sort of summary that I provided for Fargus. Like, there's no long-range means. If she's hiding herself by magic, and that's assuming she's hiding herself by magic. If she's not hiding herself through magic, like, how are you going to tell a peasant that, like, this person here who you idolize and somewhat fear is actually an undead creature? Like, how do you demonstrate that? Like, vulnerability to holy energy. What the fuck's the peasant gonna do, right? What the hell does the peasant understand? Rav will say, he'll say, now, I do think the entire facade is magic-based. At least that's what Bree says, and it's what Beric suggested, back when the old Kaja was still alive. The problem with that, however, is that I don't know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to magic. I'm no magician. Like, Rav looks around to all of the magic casters in the group.
Don't look at me, I have no clue either.
We're sort of getting off the point here. What exactly was Bree's intention with all this chaos?
As I noted, for Ursilia to die, so that Bree could rise to the top of the estate. She has, in my meetings with her, become increasingly paranoid and frustrated by all of her plan's failures. She's become more desperate as a result. I do believe she is meeting with external sorcerers. I couldn't say exactly where they are, but she is definitely out of Foghaven right now. Pretty much what happened at the trial scared her away. You, and Rav will point with his apple hand at Dwohurim, you scared her away. I think even she began to regret advising me to leave you alive. Hold on. Dark. As an adventurer tier, magic weapon, yes. It provides a +1 bonus to attack rolls and a +1 bonus to damage rolls. Go ahead, Manaki.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Yes, that seems to be a thing, so I suppose then that Foghaven as such is safe. She seems unlikely to come back.
What do you mean it's safe?
This is of course Ajax to deal with, but...
No. She'll be coming back once she meets with the external outsiders who've been helping her all this time. I certainly haven't been providing bugbears and gnolls.
Oh, no.
She provided the bugbears and gnolls, did she?
She hired them. And I believe she's meant to meet, and I do know the meeting location, the person from whom she hired them. I don't know who that is.
Would you be willing to tell Ursilia all of this?
Are we actually going to side with her? I don't think so.
If you bring me to Ursilia Melkor, I will not survive the exchange.
Didn't he just tell us that...
I don't know whether you will survive the exchange. My opinion is that she's kept you all alive long... Actually, I have no idea why she's kept you alive long enough. Because if she's kept you alive for this long, then she knows that Bree's actually plotting to kill her, which means that Ursilia is a little touched in the head to have allowed Bree to live this long. Unless she gets off on it. Maybe she thinks it's funny. Maybe she doesn't think she can die at all, and she might be right on that considering the fact that she's not dead! Well, she is dead, but... you know.
Well... it certainly is one way to prolong one's life.
You would say that? I think
she does, however, seem to really care for the city's survival. That's her prime goal.
How much we can trust that, I don't know. I would
as much as we can trust the Revinger's word, I'm sure.
Perhaps. If I were what he says is true, I think we should side with Bree in this.
Tempus frowns deeply. Shakes his head. That is madness.
Bree is the less terrifying of the two. On the other hand, she is most certainly the one who hired the mercenaries to hunt you folks down back in the Wild Wood when she heard that... yeah, she heard that an undead hunter was among the lot. I think that was you, and Rav will point at Fargus. And she was hoping not to have you killed, but to instigate you all, so that you would look into it and hopefully learn about Ursilia and then kill her. Which is why I offered you such an exorbitant amount of money to try and kill her yourselves. And we see where that has gotten me. The value of gold these days.
Yes. And facing Ursilia, it is not that weird that she's kind of desperate in this moment. And would try anything.
I'm glad you're so understanding.
She did murder the Druidess, Fargus.
Yes, the Wild Wood was instigated, aggravated as it were, I applied the arrow myself to the woman in the hopes of incurring the wrath of the new druid who moved in, Ajax or Abax or whatever, in the hopes that the druid himself would cleanse, hopefully, Ursilia Melkor, through like some sort of conflict or what have you. Ursilia Melkor perhaps goes to defend Foghaven, she dies, Bree takes her place.
Seems like Bree's plan somewhat escalated, as the only thing that is getting cleansed is the entirety of the city. There won't be much left for Bree to rule after the Ajax is done.
Desperation, a bit touched, quite ambitious, sees no other way to kill the matron of the estate. You haven't really been helping the plans, as the bandits and mercenaries she's been hiring and paid for have kind of died.
So, on the one hand, we have one Melkor intentionally pissing off everything in range. On the other hand, we have
civilians in tons. We have another Melkor who's dead, perhaps, but living on to protect the city and make sure it prospers. The choice seems obvious here.
She is also an agent of the Lich King.
Undead does not mean agent of the Lich King.
Well, I was warned about this before, and I've told you this several times.
she is also controlling people via an addicting red liquid magic thing. That doesn't quite seem like
After
something.
they broke into her laboratory.
Yes. In all fairness, I sort of invaded her crypt, and then, out of both fear and concern for my own survival, attempted to destroy her, as it were. I wholly see her having my head dunked in a pool by a ghoul to be eminently reasonable, and it is partly why I feel as if I am blessed today, because I have still survived after all those years. Dependent, as if I were on a drug, but I'm still alive, although recent factors may have put that into question.
Now the question is, where has Bree gone to?
Bree has gone to, I presume, meet with her outside external benefactor, who is helping her to overthrow her ancestor. As I've said before, I don't know who that is. I do know the meeting location.
Dwohurim, do you
Tell us
still
the
have
meeting
that?
location.
Do you still have that toenail?
Yes, of course.
Good.
Toenail. Like Rav looks for it. Doesn't matter, whatever. I could tell you where it is. It's a collection of ruins a few days east of here. I could take you to them. That would be the most preferable. I don't know how well you would find them on your own, and I don't know whether the meeting might have already transpired.
It might be worth seeing if we can't convince Bree to not get more things to attack the town. That might save us some trouble.
I don't know. She's become... The last time I spoke with her, that was after the trial, and she was really panicked. It turns out she thought that, you had discovered that she was behind it, which apparently the crystal that I used to communicate with her was shattered.
Yes. I thought it would be the best way to make sure that we found her.
You did. She noticed, and she accelerated her plans beyond anything that I personally know.
And, as such, it might be worth her going there. She, after all, was risking starting a war between the High Druid and the Empire for her own selfish goals.
Well, yes. She needs to suffer for this, but there's still the problem with the Druids. They have sort of told us to find the source of the undead problem in the area, and that is clearly Ursilia Melkor.
Is it?
No, it's not.
No, then who?
Ursilia Melkor has most likely been an undead for hundreds of years, yet it is only recently that the druids have sensed an undead problem.
And as much as I hate to agree with Dwohurim in this case, the undead does, in this case, seem to be the lesser evil, as she has had the city prosper for years now and hasn't really done anything to hurt any of the citizens. While on the other hand, while on the other hand, Bree is actively, well, doing the things she is.
Butchery. He looks over to the Revinger. And the tower to the south, Meadowdell.
I was not personally, I don't know what happened. I was just told by Bree to ensure that no survivors travel along the road to carry the news to Foghaven. And that's what I told my people.
But that was also her doing.
I imagine so, either that or that of her benefactor.
So she destroys the Archmage's wards, the only thing that protects the Empire.
In the hopes that the Archmage's functionaries, their officials, would take notice of that, blame the High Druid and the Wild Wood. The Wild Wood naturally gets upset, as it has been for ages, over being restrained by the Empire. You know the stories, and they had to mesh. Ursilia Melkor dies in the ensuing struggle. Bree Melkor rises, takes control of the estate. I didn't say it was an incredible plan. I just said it was her plan.
Everything terrible that's happened for the city has been instigated on purpose by Bree, while Ursilia simply tried to weather the storm, mitigate whatever disaster that has happened. He's done nothing to really hurt the city, the Empire, or the High Druid.
If you could overlook the fact that she's dead and powerful and terrifying, and I have an undeniable tie to her, courtesy of the liquid that she forced me to drink, otherwise I'm sure she would have killed me. Yes!
He looks to Fargus and says, "In all of this, I believe it was you who told me that sometimes we have to put away personal grudges for a greater cause."
That is actually true for him. But I guess removing her at this time would cause more harm than good, actually. It would instigate a panic in the people, and there would be chaos.
And they would kill us.
Yes, that too.
And the city would burn, and whatever plan Bree has would succeed.
Well, if you killed Bree too, then her plan wouldn't succeed at all. She wants to still be alive at the end of this and at the top. If you take all of the Melkors down, then...
Then the city burns regardless. We've seen how well they handle themselves. Their mob rule is not particularly pleasant.
That is the lot of everyone, or so Barrick said. Only a few people have the ability to, I don't know, control their fates. Thought it was old man rubbish. I would like to talk to him, and he could offer you some more details about the more arcane, whatever. But you did kill him.
Yes.
Gryph looks to the others questioningly.
He's 6 feet under.
He was among the people who attacked the caravan, and we had little choice.
I see. Well, at least you had choice with the Revinger and his woman.
She's no one's woman. Especially not now.
So looks at the Revinger. Now, it seems that bringing you to Ursilia would mean your death.
Probably mean that and worse. I imagine well, you brought me to her, you might have to end up fighting me, and not as me, you understand what I'm saying?
Well,
Why would she
you-
want to attack us for that?
I have no idea how Ursilia is operating. Let's make that clear. All I understand is what she did to me, and what I get through Bree. That being said, I don't specifically know why she might want you dead, but given how she apparently has gained control of Foghaven, she might be putting plans in effect which might see you as no longer useful for her desires. Have you not been assisting her in some fashion? Certainly. Through your antics, you have derailed Bree, which, as a matter of fact, you've taken out Carmilla as well, and Salvatore, and, as far as I understand, the entire Senate has now been disbanded, leaving Lady Ursilia as the popular head of Foghaven. And if she can be attributed to getting rid of the bandits as well, and perhaps ensuring that Foghaven survives the starvation which the bandits kind of put the town into, there's no way you could oust her.
Why would we need to?
Well, she's undead. My understanding, at least as far as I'm aware, is that it's a bit illegal. I would know a bit about illegality.
Necromancy as such is not illegal.
Being undead is, I think. I mean, I've never tried it myself. I think it is. The fact remains is that if you take me to her, I will probably become undead myself. Which you might enjoy. You, Rev looks over at Thomas, but I'm not going to see a trial.
Depends
I
on when we
figured
bring
as
you.
much.
Depends on how we bring you to her.
Your frowns.
And how you bring me to her? What, are you going to walk in like conquerors, say, "We have captured Whispering Raviga"? Don't you think she could concoct any reason, or, I don't know, anything, to excuse me dying, disappearing?
The purpose is we gain nothing from bringing you back. It seems.
If he's telling the truth.
If I'm telling the truth.
Easy enough to find out. We go to Bree's meeting. We take you with us.
Shall you be keeping me bound the entire time, my lord?
Why, yes.
Your frowns again. What usually be bound?
What useful will he with a dagger at our backs?
Yeah, exactly. We can't really trust him.
In fairness, Dwohurim, I do have a track record of being a bandit and a highwayman and a robber.
Sure. I appreciate the honesty.
I have attempted to offer you nothing but in all of our time together.
As well. So if it was as I, myself at least, seems like you were roped into doing this. You're somewhat of a scoundrel, but I do believe in second chances.
I will say that I wasn't a murderer until I got tethered to this hole. Now you're bound to the liquid of Ursilia Melkor, and you've become increasingly dependent on it, and the only way you think you can survive and function is by accepting the liquid from people who offer it. Will that help?
Looks to the others. And after all, there's a girl out there who's gonna miss him. Whole damn lot.
Either way, I really do think we need to go to that meeting either way, because I have a bad feeling about it.